War is often described as a clash of nations, ideologies, and armies. History books draw clean lines, showing who fought whom, who won, and who lost. But real war is rarely that simple. Beneath the maps and dates are millions of individual lives, many of them forced into choices that were never truly choices at all. This is one of those stories. It's the true story of a man who fought in World War II under two opposing flags, not because he believed in both sides. Not because he changed his loyalty, but because war cornered him, stripped him of control, and left him with only one goal: to survive. It was born in 1925 in a small rural village in Eastern Europe, in a region where borders shifted like sand. Governments came and went. Languages changed. Schools taught one history one year and a completely different one the next. People learned early that identity was not something you chose. It was something assigned to you by whoever held power at the time. His birth name was Heinrich Bauer. He grew up helping his father in the fields, tending animals, repairing tools, and learning the rhythms of the land. Politics meant nothing to him. Ideology meant nothing. His world was measured in seasons, harvests, and survival. But as he grew older, the world beyond his village began to push inward. By the late 1930s, Europe was sliding toward chaos. Armies marched, borders vanished. When the German military expanded eastward, Heinrich's village was absorbed almost overnight. New laws were posted. New officials arrived, and soon after, new demands were made. Young men were required to serve. At 18 years old, Heinrich received his notice. There was no interview. No discussion, just an order. Report for military service. Refusal was not an option. Those who resisted disappeared. Families learned quickly not to ask questions. Heinrich's parents said little. They packed what they could. They hugged him goodbye. Everyone understood that this might be the last time they would see him. He was issued a uniform that did not feel like his own. The language spoken during training was not the one he grew up with. The symbols stitched onto his clothing represented ideas he had never been taught to care about. None of that mattered. What mattered was learning fast enough to stay alive. He was sent to the Eastern Front, where the war was merciless. Conditions were brutal beyond imagination. Food was scarce. Equipment was often broken or missing. Winter temperatures froze weapons, boots, and fingers alike. Soldiers slept in shallow trenches, unsure if they would wake up. Heinrich learned quickly that bravery was not what kept people alive. Caution did. Luck did. Silence did. He fired his weapon because not firing meant being noticed. He followed orders because questioning them brought punishment. He watched men collapse from exhaustion, illness, and fear. He stopped asking how long the war would last. Every day became its own battle for survival. As the war dragged into its later years, the German army began to weaken. Supply lines broke down. Morale crumbled. Entire units vanished under massive Soviet offensives. Heinrich's regiment was pushed back again and again, retreating through territory they had once advanced across with confidence. Then came the encirclement. In early 1944, Heinrich's unit was surrounded. Communication was cut. Ammunition ran low. Food was nearly gone. After days of fighting, resistance collapsed. Those who were still alive were captured. For Heinrich, it felt like falling into a void. The fighting stopped, but the fear did not. As a prisoner, life took on a new shape. Camps were overcrowded and undersupplied. People slept packed together for warmth. Hunger became constant. Illness spread easily. Many prisoners did not survive long enough to see another season. Heinrich learned that survival in captivity depended on endurance and invisibility. Complaints brought attention. Attention brought trouble. Weeks passed. 10 months. One day, Soviet officers arrived with an offer. It was not framed as kindness. It was framed as reality. The Soviet military needed manpower. The war was still raging, and losses were enormous. Prisoners from occupied territories were seen differently from those born in Germany itself. They were considered replaceable, useful, and expendable. The offer was simple: remain in the camps, where survival was uncertain, or join new military units fighting against Germany. For Heinrich, the decision felt unreal. Only months earlier, He had been marching east wearing one uniform. Now he was being asked to turn around and march west wearing another. He did not believe in the cause. He did not believe in the slogans. He believed in staying alive. He accepted. The transition was swift. He was issued a new uniform, a new weapon, and a new set of commands. He was warned constantly that disobedience would not be tolerated. Soldiers like him were watched closely. Any hesitation could be interpreted as betrayal. Trust was not given. It had to be performed. Familiar landscapes appeared. Forests, roads, and villages he had passed through before, now approached from the opposite direction. The same war. A different role. Combat returned quickly. Artillery thundered. Towns burned. Heinrich focused on what he had learned early on. Do not stand out. Do not speak unnecessarily. Do exactly what is required. At night, when the fighting paused, thoughts crept in. He wondered whether men on the other side recognized him, whether any of them were as trapped as he was, whether identity mattered at all anymore. He learned to push those thoughts away. Reflection was dangerous. As the Red Army advanced, Heinrich's unit moved deeper into Europe. The scale of destruction grew. Entire cities lay in ruins. Civilians fled in every direction. The war consumed everything in its path. When Germany finally surrendered in 1945, Heinrich felt no joy, no victory, no relief. Only exhaustion. For many soldiers who had fought after being captured, the end of the war did not bring freedom. Suspicion followed them. Records were unclear. Loyalties were questioned. Some were interrogated repeatedly. Others were sent to labor camps. Many simply vanished from history. Heinrich waited. Years passed before he was allowed to return to civilian life. When he finally went home, almost nothing was the same. His village had been damaged. His parents were gone. The borders had shifted again. The country he was born in had a new name, a new government, and a new narrative about the war. There was no place for his story in it. He avoided talking about his past. When asked which side he fought for, he stayed silent. There was no answer that felt honest or safe. Decades later, historians would uncover many similar cases. Men from border regions, from occupied lands, from places where refusing service meant death. They fought under multiple flags, not because they changed beliefs, but because war stripped them of choice. Their stories rarely appeared in textbooks. They complicated the narrative. When Heinrich was interviewed late in life, he was asked how he viewed himself. Was he a soldier, a prisoner, a traitor, a survivor? He thought for a long time before answering. I was a man who wanted to live, he said. Everything else was decided for me. His story forces us to rethink how we judge the past. War is not experienced in clean lines. It is lived in confusion, fear, and compromise. Many who survived did so by navigating impossible situations, making decisions that look clear only in hindsight. The idea of loyalty becomes blurred when survival is at stake. Identity becomes fragile when borders move faster than people can follow. Uniforms change. Flags fall. Orders shift. But fear remains constant. The soldier who fought for both sides did not do so by choice. And perhaps that is the most unsettling truth of all. Not everyone in history chose their role. Some were forced into it and lived with the weight of it for the rest of their lives. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, consider subscribing for more forgotten chapters of history. See you in the next one.